think we should be live. Just double check. Yep. How's it going, YouTube? A little early tonight. Want to do a slightly earlier stream, only because I'm not fully back to my 100% self. So I figured let's start a little early, that way we can go for a decent amount of time before I'll have to call it for the night. Hope you guys are doing well right now. There we go. Tweet it there. Gonna put you guys. All right. Tweet it both on YouTube and on Le Twitter. So news has been spread. So yeah, we're gonna go a little early tonight, and we're not gonna go as long as I probably would normally do. I'm not 100% better yet. I'm hoping to be better by tomorrow, especially because we're apparently this close to finishing Yakuza. So, oh my god, my face is just a mess right now. Anyway, yeah. So we're here tonight. We're gonna be doing our typical Monday stream, but for Tuesday only because I literally could not muster myself to do anything yesterday, which sucks. I was like, damn, I wanted to do a bunch of things, both streaming content, offline content, health content, but then I'm like, well, can't do that now. When you're sick, and it's debilitating. By the way, hydrate. But yeah, we are back with more Fate tonight. I'm going to go right into it, only because, again, I don't know how long we're going to do tonight just because of my overall health is not the best right now, but I wanted to still stream for you guys and, let you know that I am still pushing through. Despite not being at my 100%, I'm still going to push through because I want to be here and I want to stream. Yeah. So hopefully I'll be a lot better for tomorrow, and we'll maybe finish Yakuza tomorrow. We'll see. See how that goes. This week, of course, if you've seen the schedule, we will not be having JoJo's on Thursday. We will be taking a break week from JoJo's because we are gathering materials for next week. We are going to have a discussion. Same day, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what time I'm going to have it, but we are definitely going to have it on Thursday. So in a week's time for Thursday, stay tuned for a JoJo's Part 7 discussion. We're just going to end it off having one last little sit down with each other, having, oh, hey, what we liked about Part 7, what do we like about Part 7, what are we looking forward to for the anime, tier list maybe of some villains, that kind of stuff. It's going to be one massive blob of a stream talking about various things and whatnot. So we'll try to get to that next Thursday. This week, in its place, we are going to try and get to the Bug Ego chapter that isn't out yet, but it should be out this week if I'm not mistaken, potentially tomorrow. So it should be out ready for us for Thursday. If not, I can push the Bug Ego stream back to Friday. And of course, we're going to do a Burn the Witch chapter as well. Then we have Danadon Season 2. We're going to do 4 more episodes on Saturday. And then, though it's not up right now, I do have a stream ready to go for Sunday for JJK and more Ichi the Witch content. However, I'm just trying to confirm that we will have an Ichi the Witch chapter this week. If not, I can just pivot and adjust my stream. That way, we can just do a bunch of JJK chapter content. That sounds good. That sounds good to me. But just in case, I just want to wait in here for my reliable sources that if we are going to have a chapter or not. I'm pretty sure we will, but I could be wrong. It has happened. It has been known to happen where I am wrong. Okay, we're going to get into the stream today. We're doing more Fate Stay Night Remastered. we're getting pretty far in. I don't know how much more left we have to do. Like, we beat Berserker, Heracles. As far as I can tell, we beat him. And yeah, man, yeah. What a way that this route's going. I know I've been discussing with some people off stream, and that the general consensus is why a lot of people don't talk about the Fate route. One, obviously, is because the anime adaptation that came out, oh my god, was it 2000? Let me see. Fate Stay Night original anime. Let me see. When did that come out? 2006. Oh my goodness. I was a wee lad back then. So yeah, one of the main reasons is definitely because of this monstrosity. I've seen some stuff of it, but also recent things to help remember, because I've gotten further now into the Fate route. Oh, wow, yeah, this did not hold up well. I mean, back then it wasn't great, so yeah. So this is definitely one of the reasons why I feel like the Fate route is just not held in such high revere compared to Unlimited Blade Work, number one, and of course Heaven's Field, because they got the gorgeous anime adaptations and movies, and we see it constantly nowadays, where it's like, unless you got the Demon Slayer backing, JJK fanatic animation, recently the Dandadan madness going on, it's been like, crazy. Like, that's the public sphere right now. So if you're not going to gravitate people with flash and show, they're not going to be staying for the substance. And though overall, even though I like the Fate route, that doesn't change the fact that I do think the overall substance of Fate is still a bit much at times. Just a wee bit. But outside of the anime, the original anime, why I think people just don't talk about the Fate route is also because, from what I've heard people say, like, they kind of view it as too straightforward. It's too, not bland, but maybe too easy reading for what's going to happen next. And I do admit, yes, Heaven's Field, for excitement factor and unknown factor, for sure, gets a lot more people hyped, because, like, yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on 2/3 out of this entire thing. Apparently, though, they did cut out a lot of content from the movies, which is insane to think about. But I guess, yeah, they are movies at the end of the day, so they couldn't do a lot. But yeah, those movies apparently cut out a lot of content. So there's actually even more stuff going on with the Heaven's Field route, which I can get. I can get why maybe people are still clamoring for that route more than anyone else. But to me, at least, when it comes to being, quote, straightforward, I actually think that's more in Fate's favor, because, again, content-wise, they have a bunch of jumbled lore and over-the-top, explanations on what's happening that kind of get lost to the waysides. Now, it's a lot easier to digest if you do the Fate route first, because that is intended to be the starter route. Yes. But again, even though it's the starter route and it's quote-unquote simpler, delivering the explanation for the world and the characters that are meant to be absorbed in this manner first rather than the other two, I think how they're handling their dynamics and the overall writing of their characters and decisions that they make is a lot better here compared to the adaptation versions of the other two routes that I have seen. Again, maybe one day we will genuinely go back and do the Heaven's Field route. We'll do the Unlimited Blade Work route and see what's really what. I don't know when or if that will definitely come to pass, but that could be a thing we can do. It could be. I just think, though, people outside of traumatic wounds from the old bygone anime and just people, I think, thinking this is like too simplistic of a storyline, I think are still sleeping on the Fate route. I think for what it does right, it does right. It handles it like a fucking solid brick, man. Again, is it not so what the hell out there? Sure. But again, you don't, I think, need that. In fact, I think that's more of a detriment because, again, you get so much jam-packed lore-wise, even in this quote-unquote more contained route. There's a lot of lore that gets thrown around here and there. It's like, okay, wait, what's what now? What's the difference between this again? You know, I've mentioned that multiple times through this playthrough. Like, there are times where I'm like, I have to backtrack and be like, okay, what did they say about this lore? There was, like, so much that I had to absorb. So there's that. But then, too, I just feel like, again, the characters are just handled way, way better with a much more straightforward plotline than, like, what we tried to get at with Heaven's Field and especially Unlimited Blade Works. Again, I'm not gonna, like, change my opinion right now. Unless something crazy negative happens at the end of this route, I definitely think Unlimited Blade Work is the worst route. For sure. For sure. For sure. All right, but that was my little rant going into this. I guess not really rant, but like excerpt about where we left off and just my overall opinions going continuous for this route. I like it. I think it's a great time. I'm enjoying it. I think the people that are saying this is a quote-unquote boring route, I think are a little lost in the head, if I may say so myself. I think that's a little crazy, but hey, whatever. All right, let's go. So again, we're going to do this not too long. I'm not at my best, but hey, we'll push through as much as I can. So like maybe like an hour and a half to like 2 hours we'll do this. Hydrate. Oh, man, my nose is itchy. The sky was still a pale gray. The sky was still a pale gray. It was dawn or dusk. It's hard to tell. The vast sky overhead and a wide field stretching out on all sides. The sky seemed close enough to touch, the clouds low enough to grab hold of. This was one of the battlefields she fought on. But there was no longer any cavalry in her service. The sprawling golden meadow was gone. Instead, unfolded on the dull sky. Yes. Getting again into the more lore of Artorias' loss. Was the remnant of a battlefield. No emotion. She must have seen this kind of thing almost daily. Her desolate heart was empty. As she leaned against the golden sword, she exhaled deeply and let her shoulders relax. The battle must have ended. After glancing over the bodies of the defeated soldiers, she returned to her camp. Those were the battles that she had experienced. Her cold and calm demeanor remained unchanged. No matter the predicament she had been in, she remained just like the woman I've always known. Let me change up my light a little bit. I think that's a better lighting. Let me see. Yeah, that's a little bit better. That's a bit better. All right, there we go. And then I see the dream of a king. The moment she drew the sword, she stopped being a human. She took over for her father as a feudal lord and became a king with many knights. She was known as King Arthur, and Alteria, the life of a girl who once aspired to be a knight, changed so radically. She acted like she was the king's son, The ruler of territories and knights had to be a male. Only her father and the mage knew the king was a female. She covered herself in iron and hid the truth from for the rest of her life. Again, Fate tries to play very fast and loose with historical accuracy, especially when it comes to gender. Servants are concepts of legends, and then the legends could be falsified. How would you really know? Were you there? Whatever. They want to make waifus and husbandos. This is how they do it. Some were better weaved, okay, fair enough. They had petite stature. They wore armor all the time. You could probably get away with it here and there in this time period. Also, magic does exist here, so she didn't age in this timeline, although we see what it's like when she does age later in other stuff. It's like, oh damn. So, all right, okay. But other times, the explanations that they give are like, all right, you just needed some new material, didn't you? Okay. There were those who had their suspicions. But the king of knights, who wielded the sacred sword, knew neither injury nor age. Excalibur was blessed with the protection of the fairies, making its possessor immortal. As such, nobody questioned her tiny frame, which was much too small for a knight, or her face, which may have appeared girlish. Instead, she was hailed as a truly beautiful king. And in fact, the king was... Damn it, I gotta get more sound stuff. Bum-ba-da-ba. Yeah, you know the meme. You know the memes. The king was truly invincible. Neither size nor appearance mattered. Those who lived in fear of the savage invaders desired a strong king, and the valiant knights who followed only truly superior leaders. The king satisfied each of these conditions, and so nobody questioned the king's identity. It did not matter if the king was a child or a woman. All that mattered was that the king protected its nation. The new king was fair and selfless, and always stood on the front lines, fighting and defeating the nation's enemies on the battlefield. Many enemies and citizens died, but the king was always just, and she played her role as the king better than anyone else. There was no room to suspect otherwise, and any such suspicion would be pointless, while the king was right in any case. The field of fancy. Again, great scenery. That's one thing this remastered, I think, definitely does very, 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 very well. The scenery is... She knew no defeat on the battlefield. Excuse me. Her army reformed the lost cavalry. They charged across the battlefield, defeating foreign infantry and smashing through their defenses. Did she always stand on the front lines because her nation was behind her? Before she headed out to battle, she had to cast aside so many citizens. Once she was on the battlefield, she had to cut down all her enemies. As her battles were fought in defense of her nation, it was common to wring villages dry to support an army. Economics, man. Wartime economics. In that sense, no knight killed as many as she did. I can't tell if she ever really felt that burden. It's not something I can really know from a dream, but I do know she didn't have a moment's doubt or hesitation on the battlefield. Grief never touched her thoughts when she sat on the throne. A king is not human, but maybe that's part of the problem. Again, Iskandar said it best in Fate Zero. Yes, you led your people, but you never lived amongst your people. You never were one with your own people. You never knew what your subjects truly needed from their king. You held lofty ideals, which was great for a time, but at the end of the day, ruin still came to your nation. Human emotions would make it impossible to protect the people. She kept her oath, never wavering. She addressed the issues facing her nation, and she worked on matters of political concern. Again, very apt for what a king should be on paper, but in actuality, that doesn't always bode well. She ruled without wavering, and she pushed the deserving without error. And after winning so many battles, unifying so many clans, and pushing hundreds of criminals, King Arthur doesn't have a human heart. One of the knights in her entourage murmured this. Everyone must have felt the same way. The more perfectly she carried herself as a king, the more everyone questioned this monarch. There is no way someone devoid of human emotion can rule humans. There we go. Can't be too much of a perfect, idolized thing that they start to realize, oh, wait, they'll never understand what it means to be one of us, Several reputable knights left the White Castle of Camelot, but the king accepted this as an inevitability and incorporated it into her rule. Ever the people pleaser. And so the fair king, once admired by her knights, began to isolate herself. Such trivialities were no concern to the king. Even if she was deserted, feared, or betrayed, her heart would remain unchanged. It really was a cursed sword that day, man. It couldn't be helped. The moment she took that sword again, she abandoned her emotions. The duality of being a king. But she's pushing that to like the nth degree again. And then her final battle began. The Battle of Bonden Hill ended in complete victory. And that inescapable conclusion led to the savage clans finally offering peace. And so the nation that had been holding in breath, waiting to be destroyed, knew a moment of peace. The age of warfare where a nation leaned on a singular hero had come to an end. Britannia was finally going to become the nation she had always dreamed of. This scene starts to fade away. I had realized the dream is ending and I'm about to wake up. I can feel myself drifting closer to wakefulness. But before that happens, something really pissed me off. She's stupid, yes. I mean, that's what Gilgamesh, I think, said to her, like, you're a fucking dumbass. Oh, she is strong and a gifted fighter. But there's a difference between being good at fighting and being cut out for it. People around her pissed me off too. If she didn't notice it, someone else around her should have told her, or she would go on making the same mistakes forever. Seriously, how the hell did she have so many people around her and not one of them told her the truth? That's also another thing of a folly when it comes to ruling. You only get people telling you what they want to hear or nothing at all, rather than telling you what you need to hear, what is being heard. I wake up. We escaped Ilia's forest and returned home yesterday afternoon. Tosca went back to her room, complaining her stomach had hurt, My headache wasn't getting any better, so we all decided to just go to sleep. It's still insane that we escaped. And I guess we just left her there? I guess? It's been a second. Well, not. It's been a week. It must have been the extra weight I was lugging around. As soon as I got into bed, I couldn't get back up. That's how I felt yesterday. I was like, damn, I could not get up. Saber was the only one who seemed fine, and Tosca and I left her to guard the house while we slept. And then...
半日眠ってたわけか。さすがに頭痛は収まってるな。
I am relieved. The whole thing with Berserker, the headache I got after copying Saber's sword was unreal. If I hadn't kept up with it, my head might as well have split down the middle. And then I noticed. Hey, speak of the devil. Oh yeah, last time the decision I felt like was just, but I guess in that moment it was like, nah, you gotta like fight back or something. I don't know. Can't let her do it, even though it's like we literally had no other choice. But we did effed up and had to go to Taiga's little corner last time. So that's number 2 or 3 times we've seen it. So overall, I think I'm still doing pretty well, mathematically speaking. But hey, how you doing, sad girl? Saber is sitting on the floor right next to my head.
なんだよ。朝から辛気臭い顔して。俺が眠ってる間に何かあったのか？
いいえ。ただ夢を見てしまったもので。
Was it to become the greatest gangster? Gangsta. I wish.
いえ、なんでもありません。それより朝食にしましょう、シロ。もう起きる時間です。
All right. Saber gets up and heads slightly out of my room. What was that about? I don't know why Saber's acting so strange. I'm really not sure, but...
枕元に正座してたってことは、看病しててくれたのかな?
The moment I have thought, the scene from last night comes to me. I feel like we did skip over last night, yeah. I shake my head to rid myself of those impure thoughts. I mean, listen, at this point, you guys are good. You're allowed to think some certain ways, seeing how you've already melded together. That night, my contact with Saber was entirely about my duty as a master. You keep telling yourself that. If I don't rationalize it like that, I'll never be able to look at Saber again. There was nothing normal about anything you guys do. I'm just saying that. No, I was actually just tired yesterday, but I still need to act normal. Besides, Saber wouldn't like me acting like this anyway. How would you know? You might want to talk to her first. I take a deep breath and get changed. It's 9 in the morning. Saber hasn't eaten since lunch yesterday, so she must be hungry. 9 is so late. It's practically not even morning anymore. That's it. Wow. As hungry as Saber must be, I should probably make a hearty breakfast.
シロ、今朝は私とあなただけですが、リンを起こさなくていいのですか？
ああ、みんなまだ寝てるんだろ。昨日が昨日だし、無理に起こすこともない。飯は作っておけば勝手に食べるだろうし。
そうですか。それでは早めに支度をしてもらえると助かります。もうこんな時間になってしまいましたから。わかってる。体の調子もいいし、食べ終わったら道場に行こ
う。Man wants to get back in the grind.
道場に行くとは、まだ私と剣の鍛錬を続けるのですか？
Until he's battered and beaten. Yes, he is.
なんで？日課じゃないか、あれ。
Aha! Says she doesn't feel a certain way. I would think not, good sir.
どうしたセイバー？なんか変なこと言ったか俺。
あ、いえ、もう鍛錬はしないのだろうと勝手に思い込んでいました。
And why is
バーサー
that?
カーが倒れた今、シローがそこまで必死になる理由はなくなったのではないかと。
We still got like a bunch of them out there. Again, I don't know where this route's gonna go, but we still have Caster. We still have her assassin. We still have Lancer. We still have see, we took care of Ryther. We took care of Berserker. Archer's gone. Oh my god. I feel like I'm forgetting. Oh, well, Saber too. So I guess that would be 7. So we still got 3 people. We still got 3 of them, and technically, you know, Gilgamesh is out there, but they don't know that yet.
そっか。言われてみればそうかもしれない。
The common enemy we all share is in Berserker is now gone. We teamed up to take on an enemy far stronger than us, and that also is why I trained so fervorously in such a short period of time. But again, you never know what dangers might come about, so prepare for the unexpected.
でも鍛錬は続けるぞ。俺はまだ半人前だし、セイバーは剣を持つと本音を出すからな。その方が俺も話してて楽だ。
Smooth. Well, I say easy, but what I mean is that I kind of enjoy it.
はあ、道場での私は本音を出しているのでしょうか。
She's like, oh, is that the only true self you see in me? Yo, Saber no longer has to hide the fact that she is a certain individual anymore. Letting her hidden feelings and personality come forth.
出してるよ。少なくとも気兼ねはしてないだろう。
At least you don't hold back.
俺もその方が楽だし、セイバーも肩の力が抜けていいんじゃないか。ともかく、午前中はセイバーと剣を合わせるのが日課なんだ。数少ない俺の楽しみを取らないでくれ。
I take the ground beef and pork, green onions, mushrooms, onion. Oh my god damn. How much onions are you putting in this? I like green onions, but like any more onions and it's gonna be a little much. Also, mushrooms. Fuck mushrooms. Beef, pork, green onions, mushrooms, onions again, eggs out of the refrigerator and head to the kitchen. All I need is panko, sake, and cooking oil. Alright, so let me guess. He's going to make like a patty. Like a massive patty.
はあ、そういうことでしたら、私も反論はありませんが。
Saber mumbles quietly to herself in the living room while I work. I can't quite hear what she's going to be saying from the kitchen. Smack, smack, pound, pound. Oh, no. The internet has corrupted these sound effects. Get baked, get baked, get baked, get baked. I mixed onions, panko, sake, egg, salt with 400 grams of ground beef and pork, and knead it all together. Yeah, so I think he's going to make like a patty or something. And I decided to be bold today. Oh, sorry. Still low on energy. So I'm making stewed Japanese style, yep, Hamburg steak. There you go.
リン、目が覚めたのですか?
Saber's voice drifts out from the living room. How does she feel now that she's basically out of the race? After an insane fight like that. I glanced back over to my shoulders as I cooked.
おはよう。ごめん、牛乳飲ませて、シロ。
Tosuka comes in looking grumpy and grabs a carton of milk from the fridge. I mean, I would too. After a day like that, a night like that.
寝すぎて頭痛い。って、あれ？何？朝から凝ってるじゃない。
I have never slept to the point where I felt like it was way too much. I get like to the point of feeling like, oh man, I should have got up because I could have done some more, but like never like physically am I like, oh man, my head hurts because I slept too much. That has never happened to me. Where'd that grumpy face she's been making a second go? Her eyes are practically sparkling now.
へえ、美味しそう。うん、ちょうどお腹も減ってたし、助かったわ。
Ah, is that so? Well, she's the one who gets to enjoy herself here, not me. Reminds me of what my old man used to say. Someone gains, someone else loses.
前から思ってたんだが、お前割と目ざといよな。
I thought about this before, but you got keen eyes.
あら、人並みに目端が利くだけよ。それじゃあ、私の分もよろしくね。
She waves as she heads back to the living room. With a glass of milk in one hand, Tosca plops down at the table. Seriously. I don't know where she gets off acting like the king of the castle here in my own house. Sure, if anyone's the king of the castle, it's literally the king. Yeah, way to go, Saber. She's saying everything I wish I could say. However, Tosaka dismisses Saber's criticism nonchalantly by just agreeing with her.
そりゃだらけもするわよ。
True, she's out of the race.
バーサーカーがいなくなった今、あとはキャスターとランサーとアサシンでしょ。バーサーカーに比べたら大した敵じゃないし。
Is this
今のセーバーなら余裕で撃退できるじゃない。
It's this overconfidence that's gonna get you guys fucked again. Please, don't be thinking this way.
それはわかりません。ランサーもアサシンも一筋縄で行く相手ではない。
Thank you. Thank you. Saber's like the only one that's like, wait, maybe we shouldn't take this too lightly.
キャスターに至ってはまだ出会ってもいないではないですか。謙遜謙遜。アーサー王の手にかかっちゃ、そんじょそこらの英霊なんて10羽一からげでしょ。
Relax. Hold on. She can't do her full fucking moveset because she'll die if that's the case. Even with this new link, it's probably not a wise idea. But Shiro did get a new upgrade because of the goddamn, oh, I can basically make copies of the legendary ideal version of Excalibur. That's actually a pretty good buff, if you ask me.
今までは魔力不足で嘆いてたけど、それも解決したし。
Remedied, not solved, is what I would say.
今のセイバーに対抗できるサーバントなんて一人もいないわ。
Relax. Again, you don't know this. You had no idea that Berserker was going to be Heracles, and then it's like, oh shit, never mind. The greatest class sabers actually, in this particular instance, is going to get fried. It's going to get cooked. Like, it could be the same thing with the casters. Like, oh yeah, by the way, Merlin fucking appears. Obviously, that's not what would happen, though. That would be an interesting turn of event if Merlin could get summoned like that. But nah. Just be careful with your words, Rin. Be careful with your words. Saber narrows her eyes towards Tosaka. I have the same reaction. We shouldn't let what Tosaka said there just go by.
お前、セイバーが誰かって気づいてたのか。
Right.
うすうすね。確信が持てたのは昨日よ。あれだけの聖剣を扱える英雄なんて一人しかいないもの。まあ、伝説のアーサー王が女の子っていうのには驚いたけど、目の前にいるんじゃ信じるしかないじゃない。
True.
それに、伝説なんて都合よく改ざんされたものでしょ。
Yeah, again, the idea of like legends are legends. They are telling stories of what was, but not 100%. So we can't always discern for sure. Iskandar says the exact same thing. Like, oh, history says you're supposed to be like this tall, but like in Fate Zero, he's like a hulking beast of a man. But again, are we actually getting the real Iskandar? Because, you know, the idea would be that, you know, the servants are not who they were at that particular time in existence. They are their legacy being manifested. So it gets a little complicated. Also, it's anime and manga / other medium that wants to like take history and spin it on its head so we can have like a cool little plot point. So yeah, you know, it's just rule of cool is there as well. So it's complicated. But yes, Saber is herself.
確かに中世の王様が女の子ってのは都合が悪いものね。
I don't know if Saber was the one who hit it or was the people around her, but I guess there was no problem with having a girl to be a king in the medieval times. Probably there was. I'm gonna go with the former rather than the latter.
そりゃ誰が何と言おうと男として扱うわよ。
Mm-hmm. Tosca's tone remains the same. Saber at least doesn't seem to mind. If anything, she seems to agree with Tosca. She certainly doesn't seem to argue. She's basically acknowledged the fact. Yeah, like, no, without saying anything, she's, like, said everything. Like, yep, if I were to be, like, proud and about female ruler, they probably would have killed me before I even sat the throne. A hero with a connection to the sword is selected to be the servant Saber. Based on that alone, she would absolutely make for the best Saber. Yeah. The historic symbol of Britain. The wielder of the sacred sword, so famous, she even is known in this faraway land. But then, what of it? The legend of King Arthur ends with the king's death. Yeah, I mean, depending on which version. Even heroes are still human. Their stories usually end in death, but no hero dies a proper death. King Arthur was no exception. I mean, I think there's a couple out there that probably do die with proper deaths. I mean, Heracles, you know, he doesn't technically die shamefully in some stories. In a lot of stories, he descends to a godhood, so that's pretty good. And what is a quote-unquote proper death? You know, if there's a story of a person saving a woman from a train and they become a servant because of their noble deed that day, I would consider that a proper death. If I remember correctly, King Arthur died in battle. Yeah, that's what the storyline goes with in a lot of the tales in Fate. At the Great Battle of Camelon, yes. After unifying Britain and supposedly having no foreign enemies left to defeat, King Arthur was drawn into conflict with the unexpected enemy in the end, themselves. Yes. It was the treachery of her own army. The knights that she had vowed to protect and fought alongside for so long that led to King Arthur's death. King Arthur defeated the army's leader, but took a fatal wound in battle, and so entrusted her surviving knight, Bedivere, yes, my dude, he was a cool character in FGO, with the task of returning the sacred sword to where it belongs. Yeah, in actual lore, it gets very complicated, what happens to King Arthur. At the end of the day, they have a battle of a civil war, they get defeated, what happens then on? Yeah, you have stories of Bedivere taking the sword, returning it somewhere to the Lady of the Lake. Some other stories, you have Bedivere taking King Arthur themselves, taking them to like a sacred area for them to heal, and that's where King Arthur is now. You have stories of King Arthur dying on the field of battle with the enemy leader, who, if you don't know, spoilers, was his son, Mordred. There's a bunch of stories. There are so many stories. In Vinland Saga, they tell of one story where King Arthur heads off to a sacred land known as Avalon, but Avalon is said to be resided into the west coast beyond the lands of Britannia. So what could that mean? They said, oh, in that case, it was Vinland, which was a allegory for America or a paradise. So Is Arthur in America? Who knows? Did they know about that existence back then? Probably not. At the end of the day, whatever happened to King Arthur at the end of the rule was basically you had inner conflicts after the unification. Clearly, trust was not built thoroughly through infighting, and then the total collapse of their kingdom. What happens after that? Up to the stories and the debates. But Benevir's cool. He's cool. Travel across this bloodied battlefield and over the hill. You will find a deep lake. Throw the sword into the lake. Sometimes it's a river. Depends. Hydrate. But Benevir did not fulfill that final duty. Fearing the implication of losing the sword, Benevir falsely reported not once, but twice that he had thrown it into the lake. And each time King Arthur once more ordered Benevir to throw the sword away. Finally, on his third attempt, Benevir was able to fulfill his king's wishes. It is said that King Arthur died after making certain the sword had been returned. I guess see this to the end now, seeing how we got like a massive hurdle out of the way. Would be my thought, in this situation, but we all know what's going to happen. We all know.
どうするって何をだよ。
だから和室で寝てる物騒な子供のことよ。
Oh, we did bring her here. Oh.
放っておけって言ったのに、ここまで連れてきたのはあんたじゃない。それについては私も言いたい。バーサーカーを失ったとはいえ、イリアスフィールは危険なマスターだ。それを保護するなど、シロはどうかしています。
She's no longer a master, but she is dangerous. That is very true. But Shiro has, I'm sure, his own resolve to this.
そうそう。あんなのは綺麗に預けちまえばいいのよ。
We can, if we feel necessary. The two glare at me at once. It's like, why the fuck you bring another female back here? It's like, okay, alright. Easy. Those are right. In the moment Berserker did disappear, Ilya fainted. She showed no sign of waking up. I couldn't just leave her there, so I brought her back home. Of course, Tosca and Saber had objected, so I carried her myself. As a master who lost their servant either feels before another master kills them or is protected by the church. Tosca says we should have let Kotomine take care of her, but I don't think that priest would have taken very good care of Ilya, so I'm having her stay here, in one of our 4 spare rooms.
シロ、あなたの考えは立派ですが、イリアスフィールに関わるのは危険です。今ならまだ間に合う。早々に教会に預けるか、その令状を剥奪するべきだ。
Can she still use command spells after her servant's gone? Saber is very serious. Changing her mind won't be easy.
なんだよ。だってほっとくわけにはいかないだろう。
I will definitely say you are going a lot of your way out for a girl that was going to do a lot of fucked up shit and, kill your friends. Just saying. But this is also the guy that said, after everything that he had been through with Shinji before the final end, Shinji, you fool. You're just someone who was misunderstood. It's like, what are you talking about? No, he wasn't.
イリアはまだ子供なんだし、様子もおかしかった。琴峰に預けるのはなんかかわいそうだし。
Yeah, that's your problem. You do feel bad a lot.
かわいそう？あんたね、あの子にあんな目に遭わされて、まだそんな寝ぼけたこと言うわけ？
I guess he's trying to be the bigger man.
同感です。シロはイリアスフィールに感情移入しすぎています。彼女は何度もシロを殺そうとしたではないですか。
Maybe you guys don't have enough empathy. Maybe with the right amount of empathy, you can actually breach the gap. I don't know. I mean, Jesus, getting sassed by two of the females over here. Good lord. Two are more united than ever. But I need to stand on my guard.
確かにイリアは敵だった。けど、あいつに邪気はなかった。ちゃんと言いつけてやる奴がいれば、イリアはもうあんなことはしない。それに、一番初めに言ったはずだ。俺はマスターを殺すために戦うんじゃない。戦いを終わらせるために戦うだけだって。
それは分かってはいますが。
True. Saber's tone softens, though she certainly is not convinced. But
そう。それじゃあイリアスフィールのしたことを全部許すっていうの？言っとくけど、あの子は私たち以外のマスターも襲っている。もしかしたらもう何人かマスターを殺しているかもしれない。
it's not
それで
necessarily
もあなたは助けてやるっていうのね。
it's not necessarily forgiving her. It's more like moving on and trying to find a commonality and changing perspectives. I think is the ultimate end goal, not just straight up forgiveness. I don't think that is something he wants to necessarily do for her, but you know, I could be wrong.
それは。
Yeah. He admitted she killed Shinji after I let him go. Shinji used Rider to try and kill everyone at school. If that's what he did as a master, I suppose death was inevitable. The old idea of do not be so easily to give out death for which you are not ready to receive yourself. But Shinji was a friend of mine for years. Again, dude. Right here. What I say? But Shinji was a friend of mine for years, and thinking of Sakura, I just couldn't write off what Ilia did. Shinji, he can have the most horrible things happen to him, and he would still find to try and search for like, oh, but you know, they weren't really that bad in the end.
けど、それじゃ終わりがないだろ。
He would somehow, you know what? Shinji somehow would be able to like defend Frieza. Yeah, hold on. Nah, I'm getting some meme material now. Hold on. Did anyone do it? I would be curious. Oh, God, this is cold. No. No one did. Damn. All right. But for real, though, Shiro's the type of person, and this is something I just don't like about his character for sure, and they're like emphasizing it here. Like, yeah, you're a problem when you think this way, Shiro. Shiro will be kind of the person to like somehow defend Frieza. Like, you know what? Yeah, Frieza was a maniacal person that took over planets and stuff, and you know, whatever the fuck he wanted to do was what he did. But at the end of the day, those damn Saiyans were also running amok too, so I guess I can't hate him on that much. And he did make the galaxy a much more functional place. Like he would find some weird back ass logic like that. Like he at least was trying to be a ruler of stability within the universe. Some weird bullshit like that. Despite, like, yeah, again, the Saiyans weren't great people. They weren't. But at the end of the day, like, he did this and so much worse to countless worlds. And the fact of the matter is, he took solace from it. In fact, he took giddy pleasure from it. Like, yes, look at the fireworks of this planet exploding. It's like, yeah. But again, somehow, you know, Shiro would somehow still be able to find a compliment and defend the moral character of Frieza. Because that's just his nature. That's his nature. Yeah. Bro. Did they do 2 Frieza? I think they did. Huh. What's this scene from? I don't... Oh, maybe that's from the trailer then. Interesting. They redid that scene. Either way, yeah. Shiro's just that kind of person. He would try to find the goodness within everyone despite the most atrocious things they could have committed. In a weird way, he does kind of like follow suit of what a similar logic Shinobu Sensui had in Yu Yu Hakusho, although that's not necessarily a good thing, but yeah. Anyway, I figured I just wanted to do that little thought process there. That means there's no chance at closure. I mean, but you're going to force her to reflect, no? If you're forcing her to reflect and be remorseful, that's not of her own volition, but I guess while you're saying she's here, she's just somehow going to have that moment of doing so, because she has no other choice but to, so kind of gets complicated there.
それは正しい。けどシロ、私はアーチャーのことを帳消しにする気はないの。私のアーチャーはあいつに殺されたんだから。
I'm not asking you to forgive her, nor if I'm saying I would fully forgive her. I'm just trying to do something that betters our entire situation by not also trying to just outright kill her. We all freeze staring at each other. Yeah, this got awkward real quick. But then, oh, speak of the devil.
なんて最後にはみんな消えちゃうじゃない。そんなこと気にしてるなんて、マスター失格ね、リン。
Come on now, let's be real though. Unless you're a jackass, you bond with your servants. You do. You do. The very girl under the discussion appears.
Ilias Field.
I mean, I don't know why we're shocked. Of course she would be here.
待ちなさい。あなたたちに用はないわ。戦う気もないから、そんなに切り立たないでくれない？ほんと、同じレディーとして恥ずかしいわ。私よりずっと年上なのに、たしなみってものがないんだから。
That's an interesting way of degrading them. Helia shrugs off, looking disgusted. Wow. Damn. Said, you guys are goddamn stupid, poorly intellectual women. Saber and Tosca are once again in sync. A whole new kind of intensity comes over them.
まあ、それも怒らないであげる。今はあなたたちに構ってる場合じゃないもの。
Helia turns from them to face me. Of course she does.
エリア。
礼を言います。セイバーのマスター。敵であった我が身まで気遣うその心遣い。心より感謝いたしますわ。
Yeah.
Uh?
He's like, oh, wait, what? I'm getting complimented for something for once in my life? I stare at Elia in disbelief. So sudden is that the event that Saber goes quiet. Tosca just keeps drinking her milk, giving Elia the stink eye. And then, Elia smiles that familiar smile of hers, but with no malicious intent, I hope.
なんてね。やっぱりシロはお兄ちゃんだ。
Because I kicked your ass? Is that like, oh yeah, you're my real brother? She launches herself right at me and hugs me around the neck. Tosca, I would love to give you the answer, but you gotta let it play out, unfortunately, girl. Tosca spits out her milk. Ah, Saber. What? I can almost hear the vein popping in Saber's forehead.
離れなさい、この無礼者。
You insolent fool. Saber rushes towards me. Helia twists around me, swinging to my back.
無礼者はどっちよ。サーバントのくせに私に意見しようなんて100年早いわ。
Rah.
あなたに従う義務もなければ意思もありません。減らず口を言う暇があるなら、今すぐ城から離れなさい。
そんなの聞かないよーだ。ねえシロ、昨日みたいにしよう。あれ、本部って言うんだよね。
You're not making this great for him right now. Helia spins me around. What the hell is happening? Saber hurries after her, trying to catch her. And I black out, or something like that. This is bad. What specifically is bad? Well, it's just bad. The two cannot stop glaring at each other. It must be because Tosca is watching from afar, but she just wipes the milk off her mouth as if nothing is happening and says,
どうでもいいんだけどね、二人とも。そのままだと、そいつ死ぬわよ。え？
Oh gosh. The two peer curiously at me. Brother, are you actually getting like a fucking swell of like dizziness from this scenario? Are you genuinely gonna pass out? It's pretty clear my neck's getting ringed around. Now I face the greatest danger of my life. Women. Okay, let's review our current situation. The hamburg steak I've been working on so hard is packed away in the freezer. Aww. First, there's Tosca. She's been relatively quiet. She seems to be keeping a straight face, and it looks like she's just going to watch things play out. But who can say what she might be thinking to herself right now?
何？シロ。
Girl, please. You gotta, like, tame it in. Helia's sitting next to me, and for some reason, she looks like she's in a good mood. She's looking curiously around the living room, but it doesn't look like Saber or Tosca are much of a concern to her. Whether either of them might say it's likely to go in one ear and out the other. And then there's the one I'm most concerned about. Hey, best girl in this route. But really, it's Taika. Saber. She's glaring anxiously at both me and Helia. What do you want me to do? She's not usually so fidgety and restless. It feels like I'm resting on a bed of nails right now. So I can't leave the things like this. I don't know what's going on or going to come of this, but I have to do something about the situation.
話をつけよ
Yeah, let's just all take a breather.
う。いつまでもこうしてちゃ昼になっちまう。
Hmm.
そうね。結論は決まっているし、問題は早めに片付けた方がいいわ。そうでしょ、セイバー。
そうですね。私とリンの意見は同じですから。あとはシローに納得してもらうだけですが。
Bro, the sass of these two is impeccably timed together. Again, this is something I just feel like we just don't get with the other routes, even if they are pared down versions of the other two routes. I'm sure there is stuff in there in the visual novels, but like, man, this fucking dynamic of sassy Saber and sassy Rin working together is like crazy. Crazy. Saber really is digging her heels in.
ねえシロ、リンとセイバーは何を話したがってるの？
With my luck, nothing good.
いや、イリアをどうするかっていう話なんだが、イリアはサーバントを亡くしただろ。だからこの後どうしたものかなって。
そんなの決まってるでしょ。教会に保護させるか森の城に追い返すのよ。どちらにしたってここにいさせる選択肢はないからね。シロもそう思ってるの？
Oh, here we go. Ilya looks at me and her face emotionless. Of course you're gonna make me decide. Why not? Why not? I feel like this is the wrong answer. I feel like you're gonna get like a crazy bad answer if you do this. But Tosca and Saber would like this answer for sure. Well, let's stick to character. He would do this. Right there. Kidichigo always told me to protect girls, and I don't like seeing kids suffer.
俺はイリアはここにいるべきだと思う。聖杯戦争は終わってないんだ。残りのマスターと決着がつくまで、イリアはうちでかくまいたい。
And she is a master, former or whatever. She has resources we could use, so not impractical. Hell, look at Tosca.
シロがそう言うんなら私もここにいてあげるね。
Yeah, they are just... Oh, Jesus.
苦しいって。
I intend to pry off Ilya from me, but before I get the chance, Saber steps over and does it for me.
何よ、さっきから邪魔ばっかりして。あなた、私に恨みでもあるの？
I think they all have problems with you on some level.
当然でしょう。その身がシローに何をしたか、私は忘れることなどない。シローもシローです。イリアスフィールをかくまうなど、百害あって一理なしとわからないのですか？
I don't think nothing. There could be some good.
なんでだよ。イリアにはもうサーバントはいないんだから、危険ってことはないだろう。マスターじゃなくなったんだから。
Look, she's a little crazy, a little loopy, but maybe we can have that loopy be on our side or something.
それより下手に放り出して襲われたらどうするんだ。イリアの命だって危ないし、他のマスターに力をつけさせることになるぞ。
True, that's also another practical thing right there. You're keeping her powers out of other masters' hands. So there is actual
それは
standpoint.
そうですが。
Yeah, there you go. Saber hesitates. No matter what she says, Saber understands that another master might attack Ilya if we leave her alone.
じゃあ次はこっちの番ね。
Oh, here comes the master of argument right here. Tosca. Oh, fuck.
セーバーを陥落したところ悪いけど、私はまだ説得されてないわ。
Here we go.
いいシロ。そいつはまだマスターなのよ。サーバントを失っても、霊樹がある限り、マスターはマスターだって教えたでしょ？
So what? Can she summon another servant? Because if that's not the case, we're like being very, very particular on how we're using our terms of master then. She does say that. Tosca jolts. Tosca just butts in, and while she sips her tea...
おい、それどういう意味だよ、トーサカ。
だから、霊樹さえ残っていれば、サーバントとは何人でも契約できるのよ。
They're right there. So they're implying, like, as long as you have your command spells, they can, like, get as many servants as they want, which I guess is kind of what happens in Unlimited Blade Work, where, Rin, spoilers, if, again, you don't know, Rin becomes the master of Saber in lockstep for, Shiro, because of reasons. And in a way, Ryder does that for Shiro, or Shiro does that with Ryder in Heaven's Field. So I guess it's not untrue. It's just we haven't really seen like anyone outside of those particular scenarios be like, all right, I lost my servant, but I got 2 command spells left, so get me another servant. That'd be kind of interesting if we did see that though.
主のいないはぐれサーバントがいて、かつマスターにそのはぐれサーバントを許容できるキャパシティさえあれば、何人とだって契約はできるわ。
Also, this feels like a concept that we haven't really heard too much about, but maybe that's what Gilgamesh No, Gilgamesh I'm pretty sure is human at this point, so... Yeah, stray servants. Elaborate.
なんだよそれ。じゃあ優れたマスターなら何人でもサーバントと契約できるってことか。
Yeah, so... Ideally, as long as the master still lives, if the servant does die, yeah, they can just keep spawning servants or finding new servants if they wanted to. Although, again, every time they do a defeat, it usually does end with the master also dying too, but it doesn't really work in cases with Shiro, who wants to not do the coup de grace, as it were.
何人でもってわけじゃないわ。聖杯の力で呼び出せる英霊は7人が限度だから、最大でも7人ね。
Right, sure, but like in theory, as long as that master keeps escaping, let's say like, all right, I summon 1 Lancer. Oh, got killed. Oh no. So you can only fulfill the categories that are left. So let's say by the time I want to respawn, Berserker's also killed. I could, in theory, probably spawn another Berserker. A different Berserker. And then, let's say that guy gets dead, but I escape again. I could just keep doing that over and over again. And then, in theory, like, best class, Saber, quote unquote. If that gets taken out before the finale, I could get a Saber to follow my command, in theory.
もっともどんなに優れた魔術師だって、複数のサーバントを具現化させる魔力なんてないわ。
Though no matter how capable a mage is, they couldn't have enough magical energy to power multiple servants until FGO. Anyway, well, we're not talking about, at least your argument was not talking about multiple servants. You're talking about re-summoning a servant or re-commanding a new servant. There's a difference between multiple servants at once versus just, I'm going to get another servant. And that's the argument that you are at least trying to bring up.
あるとしても、その場合は10の魔力を5に分けて2人のサーバントを刺激することになる。そうなるとサーバントの能力は下がるから、複数のサーバントと契約する旨味はない。
Which wasn't the argument that you were leading with. You were telling us, they could just get another servant after they escape and have, the means to do so. But this is just telling us it's not practical to have multiple servants at once. Unless you have, like, a lot of magical power, which, again, in theory is what's going on with FGO. It's really not practical to have multiple servants of different, classes. I see. So if I formed a contract with Saber and Berserker, they would have split my magical energy between the two to maintain their existence, which will only drastically weaken both of them. That means it would make more sense just to keep one servant and supply them with magical energy. But again, now we're to the fact of she's trying to say, she can just summon 1 servant again.
そういえば前に言ってたっけ？サーバントってマスターを変えられるって。あれって。
あら、珍しく勘がいいじゃない。シローの言う通り、サーバントがマスターを変えるっていうのはそういうことよ。マスターを失ったサーバントは消えるまでいくらか猶予がある。で、その間に他にサーバントを欲しがっているマスターを探して契約すれば元通りってわけ。
Oh, is that what they mean by a stray servant? Like, they're like lingering on. Not like there's just servants always around, kind of like specters, I guess. But I mean, like, we know, at least we're pretty certain, Ryder's dead. Berserker's gone. In the Fate route, I imagine Archer's gone already? I imagine? Yeah, he's gone. So there's no one for her to, like, snag up. So unless she's gonna do the whole summoning shit again, are we really that concerned? Which, again, if that's your logic, just keep her here. Just keep her here so she can't do that. Or, like, she's under lock and key. Duh. Duh. If we give her no reason to continue fighting, and if we make sure that there is no opportunity to do that, then that's, again, another quill to, like, Shiro's point of, like, no, let's just keep her here.
だからリンに気を許しちゃダメよ、シロ。そいつだってまだマスターなんだから。シロを殺してセイバーを奪うかもしれないし、まだ生きてるサーバントと再契約するかもしれないわ。
I'm not saying I believe that, but, like, that is also a counter-argument to herself in general, too. She may have lost Archer, but she still has command spells, and is still capable of magical energy in of herself, and could just summon a new servant, and or just take Saber, which kind of happens in the other version.
そう。それはあんたにそっくりお返しするわ、イリア。
Well, I mean, if I gave you faith, Rin, we should try giving faith to Elia. I mean, yes, Elia has tried to actively kill us more.
そんなことないもん。私、他のサーバントとなんて組まない。イリアのサーバントはずっとバーサーカーだけなんだから。
Aw. See? Bond. I don't know what kind of relationship Elia and Berserker had, but I do know that that servant was special to her. As they all should be, usually, with their masters. But, of course, you get the Shinjis, you get, the, Gilgamesh with whoever. That is a surprise, but at the same time, it makes me happy. I'm happy to know that despite the fact that, as a master, Elia was relentless and she still cherished her partner.
あ、でもシロが負けちゃったら、セイバーは私がもらうわ。
Of course, there's the catch. I'm sure Rin would want that too.
私はシロ以外のマスターが勝つのは認めない。
Really? Wow. She's going that far.
もしシロが負けちゃったら、私が代わりに勝ってあげるんだから。
Interesting hypothesis right there. Okay. Elia says that proudly, just as she was starting to impress Saber and Tosca.
バカなことは言わないでほしい。私はシロのサーバントです。あなたのサーバントになるつもりはありません。
Crazy as it is, would she try and kill herself if that was the case? Like, oh, my options left are either Rin or Elia. It's like, because after the bonding they've had this far compared to the other two, I feel like she would definitely be like, I don't want to team up with either one of them.
別にそれでも構わないわ。私はシロに勝ってもらえればそれでいい。私が勝つのも、セイバーがシロを守ってくれるのも、どうせ最後は同じだもの。
It's a weird way the thing to say, but yeah, that's got a point. Actually, if she wants me to win, why would she think like that anyway? And then, Tosca must have found it strange too. She starts to think.
私は構います。ともかく私は認めません。リン、あなたからもシロに忠告してください。
Nah, I think Rin's actually finding the benefit of having her here.
ごめんなさい。聞いてなかったわ。もう一度言って、セイバー。
ですから、イリアスフィールをここにかくまうのは反対だということです。
Nah, I think you lost Rin now.
ああ、それいいんじゃない？別にかくまうぐらいなら。
There we go. There we go.
は？
Saber freezes. I had advocated for this, and even I'm surprised, but I don't blame opposing Saber for being frozen in shock.
リン、あなた、正気ですか？
ええ、冷静に考えてみれば、リスクはどっちも同じなのよ。イリアを一人にするのも、ここでかくまうのも、教会に預けるのも変わらない。いえ、むしろイリア目当てでマスターが来てくれた方が助かるわ。
True, that too.
今のセーバーなら、他のサーバントが束になっても負けっこない。聖杯戦争を終わらせるなら、その方が手っ取り早いし。 それはあなただって望むところでしょ、セイバー。
Alright, so who's coming next then? Is it gonna be... I would like for Lancer to do more. I would like for that to be the possibility, but... I don't know. And then we still have... Caster, so she has to make a move. So, what's gonna happen with that plot point?
ま、あなたが他のサーバントに負けるって言うんなら話は変わるけど。
No.
まさか今の私がどのような状態かリンなら分かっているでしょう。シローが私のマスターである限り私に敗北などありえません。
That trust and confidence.
でしょ。ならイリアをかくまうのも問題ない。
There we go.
それに気になることもある。シローの選択はもしかしたらとんでもない妙手。
Now he made a smart decision because she thought it over. There we go. Tozuka goes quiet. She must have convinced Saber, who reluctantly takes a step back from Ilya. We finish breakfast, then moving to the dojo. Tozuka goes back to her room, and while Saber follows me, as for Ilya,
ねえ、本当に剣の鍛錬なんかするの？
train. She follows me to the dojo like we were joined at the hip. It's like a little sister.
今日はシローと遊べると思って楽しみにしてたんだよ。なのにセイバーなんて邪魔者はいるし、ここ寒いし、つまんないよ。
How are you cold? It's a nice dojo. I'm not surprised Ilya thinks this is boring. Watching someone train isn't what I call the most exciting.
ねえ、今に戻ろう。強くなりたいなら、私がシローの力になってあげる。
Yeah, what can you do? Ilya takes one of my hands in both of hers and tries to tug me away from the dojo. But at least in this, I can't indulge
い
Ilya.
や、ダメだ、イリア。剣の鍛錬は日課だからきちんとこなす。俺は魔術師として未熟なんだから、少しぐらいは戦えるようになっていないと。
Alright, we'll get through the dojo scene, then we'll probably call it a night. Let's see how far we can
それ
get.
に、鍛えておけば、イリアを守れるだろ。
Smooth.
イリアをうちにかくまうって決めたのは俺なんだから、これぐらいはしないと閉まらない。
Hmm.
うん。それはそうかも。
There you go. Use that kind of logic that you might
け
like.
ど私、シローに守られなくてもいいんだけどな。シローはお兄ちゃんなんだから、一緒にいてくれるだけでいいんだもん。
It's kind of like the same thing, in a way. But it seems I failed to convince her. He tugs me more aggressively at my hand. Saber watches silently all the while. Her eyes burn into the pair of us. She must have still not approved of Ilya being here, and it's being more than a little cold towards her. And then our eyes meet. Good timing. I'll ask for Saber's opinion on this.
だからダメだって。セイバー、お前からも言ってくれ。午前中にセイバー。
私に言うべきことなどありません。イリアスフィールを連れてきたのはシローです。
Oh, damn. She's like, she's your problem now.
彼女に言い聞かせるのはシローの役割で、私の責務には含まれていませんから。
Oh, your girl's angry. I don't know why, but I guess she's really ticked off now.
なんだ、セイバーもよくわかってるじゃない。剣の鍛錬なんてしなくていいのよ。残ってるのは雑魚ばっかりなんだから、そんなの必要ないもの。
Don't look down on the weak, man. They can team up, strategize.
ねえ、
Gotta be
シロー。
careful.
他のマスターなんてセイバーに任せて、私たちは外で遊ぼう。
I mean, after all, you thought we were weak and we still beat you. Come on, Shiro. Let's Saber take care of the other masters and we can just go out and play. I lose my balance and I feel myself being tugged towards the dojo exit. That flash of Saber being pouty. Oh, Lord.
ダメだ、話せイリア。こればっかりはわがまま言っても聞かないぞ。剣の鍛錬は休まないし、これからもずっと続ける。
Oh, you gotta treat her like a little sister. You gotta give her like a prize if she lets you do your thing, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to say no that we're not going to hang out. However, I have to get this done. So what do we do this? If you let me train for like an hour with Saber, we can go out and have a fun day together. How's that?
そりゃ
Gotta entice
エ
her.
リアにはつまらないだろうけど、俺はこれが好きなんだ。文句があるなら今の方で休んでいてくれ。
But of course, he doesn't know how to be a brother. I shake her off violently. Bro, have you learned nothing? She doesn't receive negative stuff well. I'm not saying that she shouldn't learn. I'm just saying that this doesn't work well with her. Has backfired massively on us. She obviously didn't expect me to fling her away like that. Ilya backs off, surprised, then looks at me nervously. Crap. I should have been nicer about it.
すまんイリア、今のは乱暴すぎた。けど、剣の鍛錬はやめられない。しばらく一人にして悪いんだが、今でおとなしくしていてくれるか。
Yep. Ilya sulks away towards the entrance and stops by the wall.
いいわ。ならここで見てる。
There we go. Taming the
それなら
brat.
文句ないでしょ。
No, no. In fact, that's what I wanted. Ilya suddenly roars in defiance. She glares our way, pitching a small tantrum.
いや、それは構わないけど、ここ寒いぞ。今
Damn.
だったらお茶もあるし、お茶受けも完備してるんだが。
Bud, take your battles. Take your battles.
私がいいって言ってるんだからいいの。なんだ、シロとセイバーを二人きりになんてさせないんだから。
Oh. That's her real goal here. Ilya huffs and turns her nose up. I mean, in the uncensored version, it's a little late. The uncensored version, you're already a little late there. At least things have settled down now. I take two Shinny leaning against the wall and turn to face Saber.
3日ぶりだからどうも勘が鈍ってそうだけどな。セイバー、どうした？ぼーっとしちまって。熱でもあるのか？
I do.
いえ、別にそういうことではないのですが。
Saber turns away from Ilya, furiously shaking her head.
体は万全なんだな。なら始めるぞ。ほら、しない。
いえ、投げていただければ結構です。あまり不用意に近づかれては困ります。私たちは剣の鍛錬をするのですから。
Bro, we shared one, they shared one magic link together, and all of a sudden, everything they do now is salacious.
だからそうだって。何言ってんだ、セイバ
Oh,
ー。
Shiro, somehow you're not getting this. Of course you aren't. I'm a little confused. I tossed the Shinny to her. Besides, I never once landed a strike on Saber. Never even gotten close to being within striking range of her, so Saber telling me not to come any closer seems odd. Saber takes the Shinny, and I toss her a bit awkwardly, and then suddenly out an audible sigh.
それでは始めましょう。今までとは勝手が違いますが、平静を保つようにしろ。
Things may not be the same as before, but please try to maintain your... Bro, does she... yo, I feel like on some level she probably does know more about his inner feelings that he's been trying to hide, but also the link might have also helped as well, just in general. Saber glances at Ilya as she speaks.
誰が見ていようと始まれば気にならない。
I grip my Shinny and focus on Saber. She stands in front of me and Shinny in hand. Now my attention is fixed only on her. We spend 2 hours training and then go on break as usual.
改めて実感した。やっぱりセイバーは
I nod. Shush you. I'm reading. I nod approvingly and gulp some water from the kettle I brought along. I quench my thirst and wipe the sweat from my neck with a towel, which helps me finally relax.
ねえ、今のが鍛錬なの？なんかシロが一方的にやられてたようにしか見えなかったけど。
To a certain degree, yes, yes, it is. He is so blunt about things most people would find awkward.
それは違う、イリア。今でこそやられっぱなしだけど、以前はもっとひどかったんだ。むしろ一度も気絶しなかったあたり、今日は上出来だったと言っていい。
Mm-hmm.
そうなんだ。けどそれってシロの腕前なのかな？セイバー、シロが何度もバランス崩してたのにわざと見逃してたような気がするんだけど。
Oh, third party perspective. Helix's expression turns thoughtfully. She's sharp. I did find it odd too, actually. Either Saber was holding back out of concern for me, or if she isn't in top form. Whatever the case may be, Saber didn't go all out. Well, she may not always fight seriously while we're training, but she's always been merciless about exploiting openings before. Today she lacks that drive, though. Normally she rushes in and attacks, hard enough to knock me out. There was none of that
イ
today.
リアもそう思うのか。やっぱりセイバーに見逃されてたのかな、俺。
不思議とそんな感じはしなかったよ。セイバー、ちゃんとシロに追い打ちしようって竹刀を構え直すんだけど、とっさにやめて下がっちゃうのよ。あれ、何だったのかな？見逃してるっていうより、怖がってるっていうか、遠慮してるっていうか。
Look at that.
はあ？まさかセイバーが遠慮なんかするもんか。そんな情けがあったら、俺は初日であそこまで痛めつけられなかったぞ。
But this isn't that first day anymore. You've grown together. But in a particular way, you are now literally linked. Truly. Yes, Saber isn't the sort to hold back in training. That's why I'm able to focus so completely on her weapon.
一体どうしたんだよ、セイバー。こんなんじゃ鍛錬にならない。まさかとは思うけど、手を抜いてたんじゃないだろうな。
I was gonna make a joke, but then I don't know if I should. Oh my goodness.
いえ、手を抜いていたなどということはありません。私は普段通り、シロより一段階上の剣士を想定して相手をしていたのですが。
Oh. Something's not right. Saber has to see it too.
そりゃセイバーが手を抜くなんて思えないし、真剣にやってくれてたのも分かってる。けど、今のは消極的すぎなかったか？もっとこうガツンと正面から打ち合ってくれないとためにならないってば。
正面からですか？ですが、そうなるとマスターに近づきすぎです。それでは展開によっては体がぶつかってしまうという。
Oh lord! Even in the censored version, they just can't stop like bringing this up, man. Oh my goodness. I mean, in the uncensored version, I get like it would be a little bit more of a harder subject not to like bring up, but it's like, girl, come on. You guys did some like weird magic connection shit, okay? It's not like you got down and dirty with each other. You know, that's what I would think, but hey, you know, Saber.
そりゃ打ち合ってるんだから、
Yeah.
肩ぐらいぶつかるだろう。そもそもセイバー、密着戦になったら甘いとばかりに体当たりしてきて、よく俺を吹っ飛ばしてたじゃないか。密着戦はセイバーの得意とするところじゃないのか？
That is not what she's talking about, my man.
私、そんなことをしていたのでしょうか？
Oh, I feel like becoming one with Shiro kind of now is giving her back emotions she'd never once had before, just being herself.
していたのかって。まあ、割と頻繁に。
She's now almost in like a weird roundabout way. She is Shiro.
ほら、初めて竹刀を合わせた時も派手に壁まで叩きつけてくれただろ？
Phrasing, man. Phrasing.
女の子なのに力持ちだなって言ったら、 剣士としてこの程度は当然だってセイバーは言ったじゃないか。
I said you were pretty strong for a girl, and you said it was naturally for a swordsman. Oh Jesus, this minx over here is just like, oh. Even though again she's younger than Shiro, and yet she's like devious with her knowledge. Saber stands there, dumbfounded. What's going on? Saber's acting really weird today. I hate to learn she isn't feeling well. I should talk to Tosca later. We get back to our training, but it's still different than before. But after just a few strikes, Saber sets down her Shina. It's a new kind of training. She might try to strike straight into my head the moment I drop my guard and get close. I breathe hard, watching Saber cautiously. Saber narrows her eyes, showing that she is serious now, and stepping forward.
Shiro, 昼食にしましょう。
That's not like her. She's definitely changed her mind. I lower my shirt.
昼食にするってもうそんな時間か?
According to the clock, it's a bit before noon. It's lunchtime for sure, but this is the first time Saber has been the one to step up and suggest it. Neither Saber nor I paid much attention to the time we were trained before. We take a break, and then we noticed how hungry we were, and then we checked the clock and see that it was about time for lunch. It is a good idea. I could go along with it easily enough. All right, we'll make this decision, and then we'll call it a night. Ugh. Goddamn exhaustion. Oh, Lord. All right. Okay, let's have lunch. Fine, but why is she on the dot? Why is she on the dot today? No can do. We'll be fasting today. Why is she on the dot today? All right, let's do the middle. Fuck it.
そうだな。イリアもいることだし、今日は早めに飯にしようか。
I agree to Saber's suggestion and lower my Shina. And then Saber's shoulders sag in relief. What's really going on? She's acting so weird. Maybe I should at least ask why.
よかった。それでは今に向かいましょう。
Okay. So she wanted me to say yes, which is a good thing. Okay. Alright, let's see where this goes, and I'll call it a night.
準備に時間がかかってしまいますから。
昼飯を作る時間がもったいないのか? ああ、それなら毎日弁当にすればよかった。そっちのが手間がかからなくて楽だし、いちいち台所に戻る必要もないしな。
Prep, baby. I pull out work in the lunch as a way of thanking her, but if Saber doesn't like me spending that much time on that, so be it.
シロ、何をしているのです。早く今に向かいましょう。
Oh, damn, now she wants to go to the living room.
だから昼飯だろ?
I leaned my shusha against the wall and then set 3 cushions on the floor.
ええ、昼食です。一息入れるのはその後なのですから、早く厨房に立ってもらわなければ困ります。
なんでさ?
She said, "Get in the kitchen."
急ぐ必要もないだろう。ところで、困るって。
Bro, the life just drained from her. She's like, wait, food. All right, so this is the Saber we all know. So I guess, yeah, Shiro really did change a lot of her fundamental values. Not only just by getting to know the Saber of lore, of Yor, but also now, after the whole ordeal with their magic circuits connecting to each other, it does feel like he's made her more human.
それに、どうして今日に限って時間ぴったりなんだ? なんか急ぐ理由でもあるのか？
いえ、別に急いでいるというわけではないのですが。
Uh-huh.
急いでないならゆっくりでいいじゃないか。時間は十分にあるし。
いえ、それはそうなのですが。いいですから今に行きましょう。昼食を取らなければ午後の鍛錬に支障をきたします。
Alrighty.
だからその準備をしてるんだって。暇なら今に行って朝作っておいた弁当を持ってきてくれ。
Just go to the goddamn living room, okay, dude? She just wants to go with you.
お弁当ですか？
I nod and I open the window to let the cool air in, and then our stomachs growl, signaling that we're both hungry.
ああ、そうか。いつもはどっちかの腹の虫で時間を確かめてたんだっけ？道理でおかしいと思った。
I turn to Saber.
どう
Ah,
したんだ、セイバー。
now she's
窓開けたら
embarrassed.
寒いか？
Now she's like truly embarrassed. We should at least ventil the room since we were eating here, though.
いえ、何でもありません。今に昼食が用意してあるのですね。
Saber dashes out of the dojo. What was that all about? Saber's half-hearted hits. The way she acted now, maybe does she have a fever? It's not it, my boy. But how much left of the dojo? I thought this would be quick. It's noon and we eat lunch. I made a hearty breakfast. As such, the lunch is a box of
これ
leftovers.
は、なるほど。朝の料理をパンに挟んだのですね。
Saber nods her approval as she eats her sandwich. The way she uses a paper napkin to keep her hands from getting dirty. There's such grace even in the way she eats a bento.
朝も思ったけど、シロはお料理上手よね。私ね、ご飯が美味しいのはいいことだと思うの。
On the other hand of the spectrum, Ilya eagerly crams her sandwich into her mouth. I can't tell if she's just playing around or copying me. Ilya seems to have better manners than Saber, except at the table.
待ちなさい、イリアスフィール。それでは髪が汚れてしまいます。
Oh, cute. Ilya must have had butter smeared on the corner of her mouth or something. Saber leans in reluctantly to wipe off whatever it is. Alright. I'm going to leave it here. I need to end it for the night because I'm a little tired. But that was good. That was good. We'll pick up with this next time. Did I make the right decision? I don't know if I did. I didn't get any pluses, so I'm... Guess I got the neutral answer. The bad answer probably would be, no, let's fucking work. The best answer for Saber would have been, sure, let's just have a break. Alright. We're going to call it a night. Again, we did go early, so I am... glad we started a little bit earlier than normal. If I had more energy, I would definitely go on a little bit longer, but sadly, I do not. But we'll be back with more Fate next week. And tomorrow, we're going to hopefully get to Yakuza as my sickness permits, of course. I mean, I should be able to muscle through. I should be able to push through. Will we finish Yakuza tomorrow? Probably not. We probably won't be able to finish tomorrow, but we're still going to do our best. So we'll do Yakuza tomorrow. We will be having Bug Ego and Burn the Witch most likely on Thursday, unless change in the plans, which will be announced on the channel and Twitter. And then, of course, we have Danadon Season 2 this week. And we will then have Ichi the Witch and JJK once more on Saturday, if, of course, Ichi the Witch is out. If not, again, we will change what needs to be changed. Okay. We're going to call it. I hope you guys have a nice day, a nice night, wherever you may be. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you're also not getting sick, too. take the precautions you need to. Take your medicines. Hydrate, of course, as always. And finally, before you head out, remember to like the stream, comment, bell notification, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Sorry, my mind is like a fog right now. I'm being just continuously nerfed, and I don't like it. I don't like it. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Shouldn't have any issues. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Yakuza 0. And we should be getting closer to the finale. So that's going to be fun. And then see you next week for more Fate. We'll get to more of it next week and have a longer bit of time to dedicate towards it. So that'll be good. That'll be good. Again, we should be almost getting done Fate. Like, I imagine. But then again, we haven't gotten the caster. Lancer, I don't really know his role in this at all, so it could be anything. And then obviously with caster, we have to face off against assassin. And then Kotomini and Gilgamesh should do something. Again, what? Up in the air. Up in the air. Okay. Yeah. Until next time, guys. Take care. Again, stay safe. I need to heal more. Need to heal way more. See ya for the next stream. Bye-bye.